One of the scenes that stood out the most for me in Dune Part 2 is the scene on Getty Prime when Austin Butler's Fade Rotha is fighting in the arena. Now this scene was amazing for many reasons, but visually, it's so different from everything else in the film. Not only that, it's different from most black and white scenes that you'll see in any film. But pause on that, I'll get to that in a second. Now, why is the scene in black and white in the first place? Well, here's director Denis Villeneuve talking about it with Letterboxd.
Getty Prime is a plastic world, artificial work cut from nature, and I thought that this idea to subtract color from their world will say something about their way of thinking. I came with this idea that the sunlight will be monochromatic, black and white.
Basically, he didn't want one world to look like the other world. He wanted Getty Prime to be visually distinct from Arrakis so that the audience knew that we're on a different planet. But how did they get this look? Because this is not normal black and white. It feels different. Well, the answer is they shot it in infrared. Here's cinematographer Greg Fraser speaking to Dolby with more detail.
It was a funny conversation because we hadn't met Faith before. And also we hadn't seen Getty Prime in the daytime, really. And so Denis was like, well, why don't we do this in black and white? And we're like, great, let's be bold. I remembered some techniques that I'd been using for a few years, and so I realized that these cameras actually record infrared.
All cameras shoot infrared, but normally it's a problem, right? There are filters within these cameras to filter out the infrared light because it bleeds into the colors, it bleeds into everything else and messes it up. The only time we really see an infrared image is in like security cameras or in like a doorbell camera at night, which is helpful for seeing in the dark because it's tracking infrared light, not visible light.
It's a problem because it bleeds into the colors. So camera manufacturers solve it by putting a infrared filter.
Now, it isn't as simple as just removing the infrared filter in order to get this look. There's a lot of light that we can't actually see. There's gamma rays, there's X-rays, there's infrared, and then there's visible lights. Other stuff too. I'm oversimplifying, but you get the gist. Now, if we remove the infrared filter from our cameras are still going to see the infrared light, specifically visible light. So to really get this look, you have to put in a visible light filter. See, all of this light is red, green, and blue. Everything that we see, all visible light, all colors are made up of red, green, and blue.
But I realized that if you take that filter off and then put a visible light cut filter in, then you end up seeing the only thing you see is infrared.
Cutting off this light leaves only the infrared light visible. It smooths everything out, it makes it look actually black and white, and it adds a little flavor and visual style to this scene, which is one of the best scenes in the film.